Today's video is about pinhole photography. You can make a pinhole camera out of loads of different things, including biscuit tins, boxes, bins, and coffee tins. I really like using coffee tins because they're really handy. They're conical, so they're kind of like a cone shape. And that means that when the photographic paper goes in the back, it holds tightly to it. It means that the photographic paper sticks to the back without any kind of glue or anything like that. They're also really durable. At the same time, you can cut into them really easily. If you want a pinhole photograph, which is really sharp, then you need to make the pinhole as small and as crisp as possible. So you can laser cut pinholes, so they're perfectly circular, or you can do the technique that I'm going to show you later on in this video. If you're interested in soft focus, then you can play around with that by making your pinhole bigger and making the edges more rough. My other videos on making a paper negative and also Caffenol paper developer show you how to develop the image. So if you want to make your image into a positive, then follow my paper negative video, which will show you how it works. That video also shows you how to develop a photograph from a pinhole camera. If you want to develop your image sustainably, you can use my Caffenol paper developer video, which shows you how to develop with coffee, vitamin C, and soda crystals. If you're using film, you can also follow my Caffenol film developer video. So this is basically stopping the light from bouncing around inside the camera. Unlike me, you might wish to wear gloves so you don't get paint all over yourself. Don't worry if you don't cover all of it, but try and cover it up as much of it as possible. Okay, so you now leave that to dry. You can also paint the inside of the lid if you want, which will just help with keeping it light tight. So the next thing to do is to make a nice flat aluminium sheet. So I'm going to cut this like this. And be careful because there's sharp edges. And cut along the rim here. So we're going to try and cut 2 to 3 centimetre squares. Doesn't need to be exact, but this is going to be where your pinhole is. Then to make your pinhole, you get a needle and you just really gently turn this around until you make a hole in the sheet. Then for your next step, you need to cut out a small square here, and this is where your piece of aluminium will sit. So the reason that we cut out another piece of aluminium is because this is much thinner than this is. So this will give you a much sharper pinhole. So you can see I've made a little border of electrical tape and I'm going to stick that into the front of the camera. So this is what your pinhole camera should look like. So you have the orange rubber lid here. You have the pinhole here with a kind of border to stop the light going in on both sides. And then the best thing to do is to hold this pinhole up to the light and just check that only light is coming through this pinhole. And then the next thing is to make a shutter, and this is so that you can control how the light goes through. So the easiest way of doing this is to get some electrical tape and put it over the top like this, and then make a little handle here just by folding over the electrical tape a couple of times. So that is the pinhole camera not letting light through. When you want to open the shutter to let the light in, you do this and you open the shutter like this, and then you count a timer up to about 30 seconds and then close it again. So now I'm going to demonstrate how to load the camera, and I'm going to do this with a normal piece of paper, but you will be using your silver gelatin piece of paper. So I've opened the camera. Imagine I'm doing this in a darkened room with a red light, and this is my photographic paper. Most photographic paper, especially the Ilford multigrade paper, has a shiny coating, so you make sure that shiny coating is facing towards the pinhole. There, you can just about see, and the paper is at the back. And then still in the darkroom, you put the lid back on, and this is light tight. So I then take this outside or to somewhere where I want to expose a pinhole, and I open up the pinhole camera like this. And then usually I hold the camera like this and have a timer on my watch on my phone. And I do this just to make sure that it doesn't rock the camera. Any shakes will show up in the image, so you have to be really still. You can also attach it to a tripod with gaffer tape or something like that, just to make it a bit more stable. So when you finish your exposure, say after about 30 seconds, you close the pinhole, and then to develop, you take the piece of paper out, and then you put it in the developer, the stop, and the fix, as you usually would. I hope you liked this video. If you'd like to see more about photography and experimentation, you can follow my YouTube channel by subscribing, and you can also join my Patreon to support my work. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in a month.